Hey everybody, I wanted to do a short video and talk about self-regulation. One goal of this course is to increase your ability to learn efficiently and effectively. This means learning faster and learning smarter. It's what scientists call being a self-regulated learner. Self-regulating your learning means you plan your work, you monitor your work and your progress, and then you reflect on your planning and strategies and what you could do to be more effective. These are the three phases of self-regulated learning, or SRL. So in this video, by the end of it, hopefully you'll start to understand that self-assessment is a skill that improves with practice and reflection, that self-regulation can help you to study and learn more effectively, and that you can be able to evaluate the accuracy of your self-assessment to this point. You can make a plan to continue to improve your self-assessment and use it to regulate your learning. A quick note on terminology. Self-assessment is used to refer to the act of assessing one's skills. That's self-assessment. Makes sense. Self-regulation refers to a process in which one uses the self-assessment to monitor and adjust future work. So you use self-assessment to adjust and monitor to self-regulate your future work. In either case, you should be able to look back at your self-assessment and compare that to your actual performance. It's like a musician. Can you imagine a musician who never listened to herself play? How would she know what she needed to work on to improve? She might just assume she was playing her best, or she might assume that she needed to practice everything. She might waste a lot of time just playing everything over and over and over without focusing on what to do differently. She wouldn't know that the tempo was a little slow in a certain section or that her notes were too choppy in another. So perhaps she could rely on her teacher to tell her what to work on her lessons or in her lessons. But when she practiced alone, she would be back to just playing the same music over and over without knowing if she was improving or even getting worse. So she would have to wait until the next lesson and have the teacher tell her again. Can the musician who never listens to herself ever reach her full potential? So just some things to think about. It is inefficient to try to spend the same amount of time studying everything. You can use study time better by focusing on what you need to work on. Also, accurate self-assessment is an important skill. It requires you to take time to reflect on what you know and to be honest. And that may be the hardest part. Be honest with yourself on what you really know, what you really don't know. That's when you can make some true and effective change. Most people do not start out being good at self-assessment. It really does take practice and reflection based on feedback. Research has shown that students who use this process really are more successful. So I encourage you to take time to evaluate the effectiveness of what you have been doing. So as you see on the screen in front of you, there is a circle, a cycle, and some of the words are, like you see on the top right-hand side, planning. Planning is part of a cycle. There are many of these, many examples of these, but here's one, and I think it's very simple. I like it. It came from the New Mathways Project when we started that. Joined back with them in fall of 2012. I like it, and I like to keep using this. Plan. You can plan before doing a problem or assignment. Self-regulators, self-regulated learners will plan. They think about what they already know or what they don't know. They decide what strategies to use to finish the problem, and they plan how much time it's going to take. Research has shown that math experts often spend much more time planning how they're going to do a problem than the time they actually do to spend completing the problem. Novices, the people who are just starting out, often do the opposite. They don't spend a lot of time planning. They just want to jump in and do the problem. And really, they would save themselves a lot of grief and stress if they would do a lot more planning before they tackle the problem. Also, you see at the bottom of the cycle, implementing and monitoring, which is the work. Self-regulated learners use effective strategies as they work to solve problems. Anything, it's just like anything in life. If it's worth having, then it's going to take work. They actively monitor what study strategies are working, and then they make changes when they're not working. When they do not know which strategy would be better, then they ask for help. And that's critical, it's important, and it doesn't mean that you're bad or that you're a loser. It means that you are really smart to ask for help from your professor, from online programs, from tutoring centers, from former teachers, from family members. You ask for help. Self-regulated learners also keep themselves focused while they are working, and they pay attention to their feelings to avoid getting frustrated. We have so many distractions with social media and our phones and everything going on around us with life and jobs and families. You've got to find ways to stay focused, to ban yourself from your phone, to do something to focus your learning and to pay attention to your feelings, because many times I'm very guilty of this. I work myself into a tizzy or a funk, and I need to learn how to stop myself way before I get into a tizzy or that funk. I need to start looking for my own personal signals, so that I can seek help and look for ways to not get so bent out of shape. And finally, you see at the top left, evaluating. And this is the time to reflect. And I know many of us are busy, if not all of us. And we just don't have time, or we think we don't have time to reflect. And we really do ourselves a disservice, where if we would take some moments to reflect, we probably could save ourselves a lot of grief and a lot of extra time in the long run. So usually after an assignment, this is when you can reflect, or when you do a problem. Self-regulated learners take time to reflect about what worked well and what did not, and you make notes about it, sticky notes, highlighters, mental notes, type on a document. But based on that reflection, they think about how to change their approach in the future. The reflect phase helps self-regulated learners understand more about how they learn, so they can become more efficient and more effective the next time. And y'all, that's what we need. We are very busy, and we need to be efficient and effective in everything we do. Reflecting is important for doing a better job next time. The next time you plan for a new problem or assignment, you learn, you reflect, and you learn. And then you wash, rinse, and repeat. You keep going around in this cycle, and it's not to make you dizzy, it's to help you evaluate moments, your hours, your days, all sorts of things that can add up to months and to a semester and to years, and it keeps going to a lifetime. So for most people, self-regulating takes practice, it takes time, and it takes hard work, but it's always possible. People can improve even if in the beginning they did not self-regulate their learning very well. The more you practice something and the more you train your brain to think in certain ways, then the easier it's going to become. So I encourage all of you, take time to plan, to monitor, to evaluate, to keep going in this very important self-regulating cycle, to be honest, to make adjustments, to seek help, and I wish you the best on your successful journey of learning and of life.